INFPs are emotional, imaginative, reflective, deeply personal, and incredibly sensitive to authenticity. They're usually not loud people, but their inner world is massive. Their mind is constantly running with thoughts, feelings, ideas, fantasies, memories, and possibilities. One of the biggest signs you're an INFP is that you feel things intensely, even when you try not to. A small comment can stay in your head for days. A meaningful song can make you emotional for no obvious reason. Movies, stories, poetry, and music affect you deeply because you do not just consume emotions, you absorb them. Other people may move on quickly from emotional experiences, but you carry them inside you for a very long time. You may also notice that you constantly search for meaning in almost everything. You're not satisfied with shallow conversations for too long. Talking only about money, gossip, trends, or appearances can leave you mentally exhausted. You want conversations that matter. You want to know what people truly believe, what they fear, what they dream about, and who they really are beneath the mask they show the world. If you want to truly understand yourself as an INFP, the INFP Playbook will help you gain the clarity, direction, and self-understanding you've been searching for. Check the link in the video description. Another major sign is that authenticity matters to you more than fitting in. INFPs hate pretending. They would rather be misunderstood than fake. Even when they try to blend in socially, something inside them resists becoming someone they are not. They feel uncomfortable around people who are overly performative, manipulative, fake, or emotionally dishonest. They crave realness. This is why many INFPs often feel different from the people around them. Since childhood, they may have felt like outsiders looking into the world instead of fully belonging to it. They often feel misunderstood because their mind naturally moves toward imagination, introspection, creativity, and emotional depth, while the world around them may focus more on status, speed, competition, and practicality. If you are an INFP, your imagination is probably one of your strongest traits. Your mind rarely stays in reality for too long. You create scenarios, stories, conversations, future possibilities, and alternate versions of life inside your head constantly. Sometimes you replay old memories and imagine how things could have gone differently. Other times you daydream about future versions of yourself, ideal relationships, peaceful lifestyles, or meaningful adventures. This rich imagination is why many INFPs are naturally drawn toward creative expression. Writing, music, art, filmmaking, photography, storytelling, journaling, and deep self-expression often feel natural to them. Even if they're not professional artists, most INFPs have a strong emotional relationship with creativity because it gives them a way to release emotions they struggle to explain verbally. Another sign you may be an INFP is that you care deeply about people, but you also need a lot of alone time. This confuses many people. INFPs can be warm, caring, compassionate, and emotionally supportive, yet disappear for long periods to recharge. They love people, but too much social interaction drains them. They need solitude to process their thoughts and emotions. When an INFP spends too much time around loud environments, fake conversations, conflict, or emotionally demanding people, they often feel mentally overwhelmed. Their nervous system absorbs too much stimulation. That is why many INFPs feel peaceful when they are alone with music, books, nature, creative projects, or simply their own thoughts. You may also notice that you are extremely empathetic. You naturally put yourself in other people's shoes. Even when someone hurts you, part of you still tries to understand why they acted that way. You often feel emotional pain for people who are struggling, isolated, rejected, or suffering. Sometimes your empathy becomes so strong that you carry emotional weight that does not even belong to you. This emotional depth makes INFPs kind people, but can also make them emotionally exhausted. They often care too much. They overthink interactions, replay conversations, and wonder if they accidentally hurt someone. They may struggle with guilt more than most people because they genuinely do not want to cause emotional harm. Another powerful sign is that you have very strong inner values. INFPs are usually guided by principles that feel deeply personal to them. They may not always openly argue with people, but internally they know exactly what feels right or wrong to them. When something violates their values, it affects them deeply. This is also why INFPs struggle in environments that force them to betray themselves. Jobs that feel meaningless, relationships that feel emotionally fake, or lifestyles that feel empty can slowly destroy an INFP mentally. They need purpose behind what they do. They need emotional alignment with their life. Many INFPs also struggle with overthinking. Their mind rarely rests completely. They analyze emotions, relationships, possibilities, and decisions from every angle. Even simple choices can become mentally exhausting because they imagine every possible outcome. Sometimes they struggle to take action because their imagination creates too many possibilities at once. One common sign of an INFP is feeling emotionally disconnected from modern society. They often feel overwhelmed by how cold, rushed, superficial, or performative the world can seem. They crave emotional depth, sincerity, and human connection, but often feel surrounded by noise instead. Because of this, many INFPs secretly desire a simpler life. A peaceful home, meaningful relationships, emotional safety, creative freedom, and inner peace often matter more to them than fame, power, or status. They are usually less interested in impressing the world and more interested in feeling emotionally fulfilled. Another sign is that criticism affects you deeply, even when you pretend it does not. INFPs are highly sensitive to rejection, harshness, and emotional disapproval. Even constructive criticism can feel personal because they put so much of themselves into what they do. They may spend hours replaying negative feedback in their head, while other people forget it within minutes. At the same time, INFPs are often incredibly hard on themselves internally. Many struggle with feeling like they're not doing enough, achieving enough, or becoming enough. Their imagination creates ideal versions of life, and reality sometimes feels disappointing compared to what they envisioned. You may also notice that you're naturally drawn toward emotionally meaningful relationships rather than shallow connections. INFPs do not usually enjoy relationships built only on convenience, status, or surface attraction. They want emotional intimacy. They want someone who truly understands them beneath the surface. Because they crave deep connection, INFPs often struggle with heartbreak intensely. When they love someone, they usually love deeply. They emotionally invest themselves fully. This can make betrayal, emotional neglect, or rejection extremely painful for them. Another sign of being an INFP is having a quiet but rebellious side. Even though many INFPs seem gentle externally, internally they often resist control, manipulation, and rigid systems. They dislike being boxed in or forced into lifestyles that do not feel authentic to them. They value emotional freedom and individuality strongly. INFPs are also highly idealistic. They often believe people can become better, relationships can become deeper, and life can become more meaningful. Even after disappointment, many still hold on to hope internally. This idealism is beautiful, but can also lead to disappointment when reality fails to match the emotional picture they carry in their mind. If you want to truly understand yourself as an INFP, the INFP Playbook will help you gain the clarity, direction, and self-understanding you've been searching for. Check the link in the video description. One hidden sign of an INFP is emotional masking. Many INFPs appear calm on the outside, while carrying intense emotional storms internally. People may think they are quiet, relaxed, or distant without realizing how much emotion is actually happening inside them. Their inner world is often far louder than their external behavior suggests. You may also be an INFP if you constantly feel torn between wanting connection and wanting isolation. Part of you deeply wants to be understood, loved, and emotionally close to others. Another part of you wants to retreat into your private world where you feel safe and emotionally protected. Many INFPs also have a strong connection to nostalgia. Old songs, memories, places, smells, and emotional moments can affect them powerfully. They often revisit emotional memories repeatedly because experiences become emotionally attached to their identity. At your core, being an INFP often feels like carrying an entire emotional universe inside you while trying to survive in a world that rarely slows down enough to understand it. You feel deeply, think deeply, dream deeply, and love deeply. Even when the world pressures you to become colder, louder, or more practical, something inside you keeps searching for beauty, meaning, peace, and emotional truth. That is one of the clearest signs of an INFP. Even after disappointment, pain, misunderstanding, and emotional exhaustion, a part of you still believes there has to be something more meaningful about life than simply surviving.